All right, let's get into it. So, thank you all for your feedback about my video that I made the other day. It's super helpful. I'm glad most of you enjoyed it. I did get some questions about how do I pick my strikes. So, like, what strike would I know to pick for to chart for an options contract. So, for me, the big thing it always starts with pre-market levels. So Google's probably not the best example. For whatever reason, they don't trade a lot during pre-market, so you get a lot of these little like blips here. But however, I was able to. It's kind of hard to see with this indicator, but there was one here, and actually there's probably one here as well. But uh, I had this. I didn't even see that actually. I had this as my pre-market low. Anywho, I had drawn this level and drawn this level. Now, my philosophy coming into the day, since we popped so hard overnight, all stocks, was, hey, we're probably going to continue to be bullish. Hopefully, there's some profit taking in the beginning of the day, and the calls that probably are super, super pricey because it's Friday, 0-day expiration. It's going to completely destroy the premium, and I can get it really low. So, based off where we're at as far as price, I'm typically, right now we're at like that 26, 30, 40, 50 range for Google. Something that typically is affordable is around, it's tough to say, but around like 60 to 70 points away. Now, if we look at the option chain, what I usually do is I'll come here, and as soon as the open, I'll usually have a couple of strikes. In this case, I had the 2700 that I was eyeing. I even had, I think, the 2720 that I was eyeing, depending on where we landed. But really, the risk that I'm looking for is any contract that's around like 250 at most to around $2, $1.50, something like that. So if I can get a contract that's kind of within distance around that price, that's kind of what I'm shooting for. Obviously, you can also look at key levels from charts you might have done before and all that stuff, but keeping it real simple, I'm really looking for anywhere from like $1, $2, maybe tops $3 range right at the open once we get that either that pop or that sell off. All right, so thankfully it worked out exactly how I was expecting. So we got that profit taking right in the beginning of the day. So Google opened up dipping all the way down to about 2640. Now, for me, what I did was, and by the way, this was another question, what time frame I was on. I'm on the 2-day, 3-minute chart. So when I do day trades, I like to be pretty much on that chart, even sometimes the minute chart, but for the way I like to do things, 2-day, 3-minute kind of works the best for me. Anywho, I was waiting for Google to come down and hit one of those pre-market lows. So this is pretty like picture perfect as far as like what you're looking for. It comes right down, hits one of those pre-market levels, right, bounces off of it, and then kind of chops right here for a couple of candles. Now, mind you, I'm on the 3-minute chart, so this is only within about 20 minutes or so. So I actually got my first entry right around here, which was at 2.7. So not my cleanest entries. So after that first initial candle, and it popped a little bit, came back red. I was trying to catch it right at that same kind of wick, but it was moving pretty quick. So anyways, I caught it at 2.7, not the best. And this is why I would emphasize you typically don't trade, within those like first 5 minutes. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes you get in, right? Things explode. It's great. But usually, again, the contract will typically base, and you can get a better price. Anyways, didn't follow my own rules. Got in at 2.7. Then it went all the way down, and I said, "Ah, crap." And I said, "You know what? This is a really good price. If I liked it at 2.7, I'm going to like it at 1.5. So that's exactly what I did. I actually got in at 2.7 and then 1.5. So we'll mark that. That's close enough. And then another one at 1.5. All right, good enough. And this is literally within a span of like 3 minutes. So premiums are moving crazy. So 2.7, I bought one contract. That was my starter contract. My thought was if it did go lower, I was going to add. And that's exactly what I did. When it came here, I got 3 additional contracts at 1.5. All right, so obviously today was a crazy day. We got finally the push that we were looking for. So this contract exploded a couple times, but right in the beginning of the day, I took my first profit right here at 5. So once I got $5, I said, all right, I'm getting out of here. So that was my first win. It actually came all the way back down, sold down to about $2, held that, and then shot back up. And I was pretty upset at myself, but I missed this. Came back down, actually missed this too because I was in a class, and then said, you know what? I don't know if any of you use E-Trade or anything like this, but you can set up something called an exit plan where you can say, hey, it's similar to like a stop limit. So I said, you know, I'm not going to miss this again. So it came down here, and I actually set a price target for 10. So I was able to get a second contract sold at 10. So about $1,500 within, you know, an hour or so. So incredible. Now, what I wanted to share was that I remember I had 2 runners that I was holding. Now, again, pretty busy this week. I've been kind of in and out, can't pay attention like every minute. But this contract hit the high of the day at 13. So the lesson that I learned today that I want to share with you is this is, all right, let's see what time this is. This is at around 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock, this is where we topped out at. Now, look, you're never going to know, because if you look at some of the other charts, sometimes these things can just keep going up, and that's happened to me. And then, you know, I've sold at 10 and it ends up at, you know, 25. Now, the thing that's tough is that in 0 days, as you get later into the day, the premium will decay extremely fast if a move goes against you, especially something this sharp. So that's exactly what happened. The contract went from 13 and completely dove down to a low of $4 roughly. So obviously you could see the rest of the day just kind of faded out and whatnot. So for me, the lesson was that I actually fumbled my runners. I should have probably taken off an additional runner right around here and then left one just to go and see where it went. But once it had this dip and it kind of came back, this was probably where I should have closed that last one. So it's kind of difficult, and this is why I wanted to make this video. Like, it can drive you crazy. Like, you could potentially, you know, you have to kind of ask yourself, what's going to hurt more? If I take the profit here and it goes up to 24, or I close the profit here. I mean, I don't close the profit here, and I miss, and it just never returns back to where I thought it was going to go. So for me, I think more times than not, it's probably better to take this big initial move, and then if you want to leave a runner, be comfortable with it pretty much, you know, however much you're comfortable losing. The tricky piece is that if you set up anything like stop losses or whatnot, I mean, you can get stopped out like extremely fast. I mean, look at some of these, you know, drops. You go from 8 to 3 within 4 minutes. You went from 8 to 3 basically in half in just maybe 6 minutes, actually. Sorry. So It's really, really volatile, as you know. You just kind of have to have a plan. You can't just wing it because I've again, take it from me, I fumbled a bunch of bags, either holding too long, hoping for this huge, instead of the home run, I'm looking for the grand slam, or what's it called? It completely fizzes out, or I say, you know what, I'm comfortable with the home run, and then boom, next thing you know, the grand slam happens. And then a perfect example of that, I believe, was where is it? SPX for today. Okay, so check this out. At the low of the day, this thing was at just around $2, right? Pretty much at pre-market levels. So after that initial sell-off, right, we get right down to here. Now SPX, one thing about them, their premiums move crazy. So if you get a move in the right direction, I mean, you're flying. Anyways, you pick up SPX here at 2. This thing completely exploded up to 33 at one point, and at the high of the day at around 38, roughly, give or take. Now look at these swings, right? You go from up here 30-ish down to half 18, right? That can shake a lot of people out. You go from 37 down to 16, right? Like, serious drops. We look at the chart side by side, right? I mean, for the most part, pretty much every day, but like, you got to be able to live through these drops and see how you feel, and whether or not you're comfortable holding and diamond handing it, if you will. So anyways, that's the video. That's the lesson, is basically having a goal, figuring out what you're comfortable doing. Are you comfortable like holding this thing and waiting for the grand slam, and closing up here at 38, going from 2 to 38, which is just bananas? Or are you the person that says, hey, I'm going to stack up here, buy a couple of contracts and then scale out as it goes up? Take some profit here, take some profit here, and then leave the runner and just see where it lands. So anyways, hope it helps. Hope you enjoy it. If you got any questions, as always, let me know and I'll help you out.